I remember the first time I came to New York. It was my city of dreams. It swept me with its freedom. I was walking the streets. It was the end of fall and the air had a chill that you don't get in Israel. People were littering the benches, roads, and lawns of Central Park, but it was as if there was a lot of space between them. I felt that this was the place for me. Shh. Can you hear the silence? This place has been lifeless for a long time. A desolate, lonely place. I like it. I come here often. It's easy to clear my thoughts in this silence. You know, there used to be a city right in this place, filled with happy people, blooming gardens. There were music in the air, fresh water. People used to gather their crops several times a year. People had a good life in Sodom. Sodom is a city steeped in sin and corruption. The Creator decided to destroy it. Then the Lord rained down sulfur and fire on Sodom and Gomorrah from the Lord out of the heavens. Thus he destroyed these cities and the entire plain, including all the inhabitants of the cities and everything that grew on the ground. A good friend of mine told me that you can really make it in this city as long as you follow just one golden rule. Don't interfere with anyone and don't ask for help, and everything will be fine. What was wrong with its law? What's mine is mine, what's yours is yours. It's a great law. People of Sodom looked at nature around them and felt that if they wanted to ensure their survival and thrive, they need to keep this law. What's mine is mine, what's yours is yours, under penalty of death. Accordingly, the laws that they came up with became their crime. Everyone who is seen giving bread to a beggar is put to death. Poor person, let him stay poor. A beggar, a person dying, it was their problem. They couldn't cope with life. What's yours is yours. Stay away from me. Don't come near me. You got your life, and I got mine. What's mine is mine. One day I was walking on Broadway with a good friend of mine. The days were already getting chilly. And I suddenly spot a young man wearing nothing but a shirt. His face contorted with pain. You could see that he needed help, and I had a natural desire to help him. My friend was going, whoa, 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 what are you doing? And he pulled me out of there while berating me. You want to spend years in courts trying to prove that you were only trying to help this guy? Don't forget, this is New York. Everybody's got a story. Stay out of it. Eventually, we left it all behind us, but I couldn't shake the feeling that I didn't help this man. But after a while, I forgot all about it, and I thought that everybody lives this way and everybody's doing fine, so why should I feel guilty? Anyone who invites a foreigner to a wedding will be punished with all their clothes removed. They wouldn't share even in their celebrations with others. There was no place for sharing. To each his own. The last straw that overflowed the cup of God's patience was the decision of the Sodomites not to receive guests in their homes. Lot violated that prohibition, and he dared to take strangers into his home, and the people of the city revolted against him. They called out to Lot, saying, "Where are the men who came to you tonight? Send them out to us, that we have sex with them." Lot stood up to them. He asked and begged them to leave his guests alone. Then they started breaking down Lot's door, threatening to kill everyone in the house, including Lot himself. Hospitality. That was his crime. By that, he violated the central law of Sodom and Gomorrah. What's mine is mine, what's yours is yours. One day, we visited friends of mine from out of town. They lived the true American dream. Big house, an expansive lawn, 3 cars, a golf course, a barbecue pit. The street was full of similar houses, all surrounded by the same kind of fence. You know the kind I'm talking about. And I asked them, how are the neighbors? Well, we've never met them, they said. I said, what do you mean? You never asked for a cup of flour? They never needed to borrow a drill? Well, We don't need favors from anyone, he responded. What's wrong with that? Then he leaned in and said, I even got a gun upstairs, just in case. My house is my castle. What caused the corruption of the inhabitants of Sodom? They worshipped their own wealth and renounced the Creator's governance. Oh, how I wanted to get rich.
The money on my mind, a great deal of it will fix me all I've ever desired.
I completely embraced the saying, build yourself by yourself.
Every time 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and I count it. Ooh.
And I remember
1, 2, 3, 4,
after a few long, arduous projects, I suddenly got an opportunity to join a fast-growing startup in exchange for bigger salaries, some stocks, the kind of thing that could really set you up for life. A house in New Jersey, 401k, Ivy League college for the kids. Of course, it all came with a price tag. Overtime at work, less time with friends, less time at home.
the money got my mind.
And here we are, one evening, my wife and I, the boys asleep, silence. And suddenly, she says to me, your mom called. They missed a little guy who didn't visit Israel in a long time. He didn't take a vacation in 3 years. And I just listened. And I found myself instead telling her, remember that first Passover we had just after we got here? We had this huge meal in our friend's crumbling industrial loft. We invited everyone, Jews, Christians, Muslims. There were about 50 people there. There was even a shaman. People sang, people played, people did things for each other. Everybody was broke, but it felt like $1 million event. And I looked at her and I said, what are we doing wrong? We live in a constant expectation that real life is just around the corner. But is it really the life we want? And I saw tears in her eyes, and suddenly we both felt that we were doing something wrong. Don't look back. Lot already knew that the city would be destroyed, but he was still hesitant to leave. And who could blame him? His sons-in-law, his daughters, his wife didn't want to leave the city. There's music and gaiety in the city, they said, but you are talking about death. Natural that Lot had second thoughts as well. How can I give up my wealth? That is, up to that last moment, a person cannot decide to leave Sodom, the state where you owe nothing to no one, your personal comfort zone, filled with music and fun, and start connecting with others, working on the correction of your ego. So maybe we could stay. But there's no choice. You have to leave Sodom. And once you make that decision, you cannot look back. You cannot look back at your old egoistic state. You need to simply leave, or you'll suffer the fate of Lot's wife. As it's written, but his wife looked back and she became a pillar of salt. Today I understand what Sodom and Gomorrah actually symbolize and why they had to be destroyed. Sodom is in us. A person is afraid to leave Sodom. There's so much stability in the laws of the city. They fit into our ego so precisely. What's mine is mine, what's yours is yours. Rock solid. We're willing to remain frozen in this state, not touching one another. And this is precisely what's so horrifying about Sodom. There's no contact between people, no connection. And that's why there's no movement, no progress. It might be more comfortable for the ego, but nature will not let us live this way. The era of animal-like convenience is over. The world has become round, and our interdependence is clearer than ever before. How did my wife and I manage to not look back? One thing, our friends. They surrounded us with their warm embrace, and in truth, we never had a second thought. We could look ahead, and it was clear to us what we want from our future. A future where there is one law for all. Love your friend as yourself. That's where we want to be.